Chapter 20. Your story is tuned to a frequency. To further develop the story of the cornflakes theory in Chapter 7, we need to have a better understanding of frequency and vibration, how it is generated, and how it can be used to benefit our lives. Everything around us is based on frequency, including creation. Your mood generates a frequency, and that frequency places you into a specific position in the field. Everything around us and in us is energy. It is always moving and affecting every particle. This is what Einstein called the field. He said, "The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. Whatever frequency you are in will be surrounded by more of the same frequency. For example, if you are in a bad mood, everything around you seems to be related to that mood. When you are in a good mood, everything in life seems good at that time. Feelings are translated into moods, and moods produce themselves in the outer world. When you are looking for something, you need to generate that frequency to place yourself in that part of the field. You need to believe it, see it, and especially feel it. The emotional content of your belief is essential. When you get there, you will discover that what you are looking for has been waiting for you there. There are millions of frequencies. All of them relate to something different, both good and not so good. If you live most of your life in the same situation, repeating the same things every day, mixing with the same people, doing the same work, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same feelings, then you are living in the same frequency all the time. You are experiencing the same results, the same environment, the same frustrations, and the same outcomes. Why? Because that's what that frequency delivers. Your imagination offers you an opportunity to change all that. Your imagination can generate a new frequency, powered by belief and the feelings that comes with the life you imagine. However, you must really believe it, expect it, and feel it. You may need to keep adjusting that frequency. By adding more detailed images and getting more in touch with the feelings you will feel when it manifests in your life. The path to freedom or slavery is the same. Imagination. Mental pictures become your experience. Consciousness always assumes a form to acknowledge itself. A person changes the state of their outer world by first changing the state of their inner world. These are the stories we consistently tell ourselves, that relentless chatter in our head that is forming our very life. How many times have you said, "I had a feeling that was going to happen"? By altering your perception, you change the way you see something, and then the order or circumstance of what you are looking at changes. Your action always follows your mental imagery. Your action is always true to the picture in your mind, and it will strive to deliver to you its material counterpart. We are the cause and also the effect. The meaning of everything is internal. What goes on beyond the comprehension of our five senses? Creative imagination. Look at reality as a manifestation of your thoughts and imagination. It projects itself out from you. Sleep in the place of your wishes. Examine what your senses are telling you, or more accurately, what you are deducting from what your senses are telling you. Place yourself in your imagination, in your future life as you want it to be. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. We are creative. We are creating the life we are living every day. You can change that if you don't like the way it is. Don't look to the external world for validation. That only comes from within. Everything you say about yourself after the words "I am" is a glimpse into your self-image and exposes what is going on in your imagination about yourself. It is generating a frequency that is keeping you there. Your imagination is your self-image. You cannot act outside of that image for any prolonged period of time. You need to change it. What can make it difficult to change frequency are the environments we spend our time in, the people we associate with, and the frequency field they live in. It might be necessary to look for a different environment for at least some of that time. Disassociate yourself from negative surroundings, including negative TV shows and videos. Mix with people who are positive and growth-focused. Read uplifting and encouraging books. Listen to the many YouTube channels that speak about how to develop a more positive viewpoint. Educate yourself on the use of a positive mental attitude. Practice being more positive in your conversation and your outlook on life. This will all help you to grow your new life in your imagination. We live in 4 realms of existence: spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional, and we need to work to get them all in line with this understanding. The books you read will, over time, adjust your frequency. They can raise you up into frequencies that will allow you to understand this better and apply it faster into your life. So, stick with it, even if at the start you feel you don't understand it. Over time, you will. Edit your story. An important starting point is forgiving yourself for anything in the past. For example, your shame, resentment, regret, guilt, anger, etc., because that will block your way forward. In the last chapter, we learned that the past is perspective. If you have ever said, "There must be more to life than this," then it is possible that you've been telling yourself stories that have not been helpful for you. Your story is a story you tell yourself from your point of view, your perspective, and that can be a problem. Don't let the noise of other people's opinions drown out your inner voice. The lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding. Frequency and vibration. Cymatics is the name given to the modal vibrational phenomena. The term was coined by Hans Jenny, a Swiss follower of the philosophical school known as anthroposophy. It is the study of visible sound and vibration, a subset of modal phenomena. Typically, the surface of a plate, diaphragm, or membrane is vibrated by a sound frequency, and shapes are made visible in a thin coating of particles, paste, or liquid. A sound frequency has a direct effect on the substance, which is on the surface of the plate, causing it to make beautifully intricate patterns. The application of a sound frequency has also been shown by Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiments to affect water and produce amazing shapes. Sound frequencies affect us too. Dr. Masaru Emoto's research from his book, The Message from Water, demonstrates that human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music all affect the molecular structure of water. And since our bodies are approximately 60% water, those frequencies have a direct effect on us. We can filter in or out sound waves. I used to live close to a busy airport, and after a while I simply didn't hear the planes going overhead anymore. You can sleep beside a train track and not be disturbed by it, yet a baby's cry could wake you up. Do you know that some people love to fall asleep to the sound of a washing machine or water lapping on the seashore? In 1967, Hans Jenny, a physician and natural scientist, published 2 volumes entitled Cymatic 1967 and 1972, in which he claimed the existence of a subtle power. Based on the normal symmetrical images made by sound waves, Jenny put sand, dust, and fluids on a metal plate connected to an oscillator, which could produce a broad spectrum of frequencies. The sand or other substances were organized into different structures characterized by geometric shapes, typical of the frequency of the vibration emitted by the oscillator. According to Jenny, these structures, reminiscent of the mandala and other forms recurring in nature, would be a manifestation of an invisible force field of the vibrational energy that generated it. He was particularly impressed by an observation that by imposing a vocalization in ancient Sanskrit of Om, regarded by Hindus and Buddhists as the sound of creation, the lycopodium powder formed a circle with a center point, one of the ways in which Om had been represented. The observation of Jenny is entirely consistent with well-known mathematical properties. From the physical mathematical standpoint, the form of the nodal pattern is predetermined by the shape of the body set in vibration. The sound wave, therefore, does not influence at all the shape of the vibrating body itself. The only thing that changes due to the vibration is the arrangement of the sand. The image formed by the sand, in turn, is influenced by the frequency spectrum of the vibration only because each vibration mode is characterized by a specific frequency. Therefore, the spectrum of the signal that excites the vibration determines which patterns are actually modally displayed. What does all that mean to us? We are affected by frequency. As explained earlier in the book, we pick up on frequencies all around us. We feel uncomfortable in the company of some people or on a dark street late at night. We pick up vibes from our surroundings that set us on alert. We feel love and friendship as a frequency. We feel fear as a frequency. There are some sounds we love and some we don't. For example, the scraping of chalk on a blackboard, the singing of the birds, the squeak of a wheel that needs oil, or the lapping of water on the seashore. The tone in someone's voice tells us what mood they're in. That is how babies start their understanding of frequency. Some music we love, and some we don't. A happy song can make us dance, and a sad song can make us cry. An unpleasant noise makes us raise our hands to our ears. A fire alarm can make us run. So the frequencies we perceive, and how we interpret them, have the power to connect with and change our physical actions. We are continually picking up signals from our environment through our external senses, our eyes, nose, ears, mouth, and touch via our skin. These all act as a community and send back information in the form of emotions to our brain, which is our central information processor. Each cell of our senses gives over its individual control to the government, our brain, where decisions are made, and a behavior, action, or reaction is decided upon. Each cell is then informed via chemicals as to what the decision has been and how it is to be dealt with. We know these chemicals as our feelings. So, for example, we see an advert for chocolate on the TV, and the eyes send a signal to the brain, which is closely followed by signals from our taste buds and stomach, to suggest that some chocolate would be nice. This is sent in the form of an emotion. The government then ponders the options. Yes, it would be nice, however, there will be a price to pay by way of putting on weight. A counter-argument ensues. Yes, but remember, I walked 10,000 steps today, so I have some credit, and besides, it's the weekend and I've had a hard week. The brain knows that the chemicals that will be produced by a positive answer will be much appreciated by all, and decides to agree to the chocolate. That decision, which is transmitted as a feeling, causes immediate action on the part of the legs to go to the fridge and satisfy the emotion. Over a period of time, these signals from the senses can grow so strong as to override any brain intervention. That's called a habit or an addiction. The body is now in control, a coup d'etat of sorts. You are likely familiar with Pavlov's dog experiment. Briefly, he trained his dogs to expect food every time he rang a bell. After a while, he continued to ring the bell but gave no food to the dogs. However, they were so programmed to expect food that once they heard the bell, they started to salivate. This is an unconscious learned reflex behavior. Through unconscious reflex behaviors, we are all subject to learned responses. Of course, these responses are beneficial when, for example, we're driving and something unexpected happens. We find our foot on the brakes before our conscious mind sees the danger. I'm sure you've had that or a similar experience. It is not so beneficial when our subconscious autoresponders are filled with self-defeating behaviors. Negative self-talk and weak self-image can seriously mess up our way forward in life when we have given them the steering wheel. When somebody says something to us that pushes those self-doubt buttons, we react before we have time to assess the outcome. We have already seen that our response to stimuli are chemical signals sent throughout our body via our feelings. That's when you hear yourself saying, "You made me feel sad or angry or whatever." But can somebody else make you feel something? No. They just create the stimuli, and you do all the rest to yourself. The WAIT technique that we looked at in Chapter 10 can really help in those moments. You need to get control back to your brain, at least until you have had the chance to change your programming to respond the way that's best for you. When you are tuned into the frequency, that allows you to rise above the petty mundane of the environment you find yourself in. By that I mean that you are focused on you moving forward. Then you can rise above the stuff that other people want to drag you into, like the gossip and backbiting that is unfortunately commonplace in our world today. Scientists from the National Research Nuclear University discovered that the observed vibrations are connected with the cardiovascular system, which has its own proper movements occurring simultaneously with the work of the heart. 3 types of infrasonic vibrations were registered, Waves of the first type are connected with the heartbeat, the second with the human respiratory rhythm, the third, called Traub-Herring waves, with states of emotional tension. Thus, it could be possible to judge the human emotional state via the amplitude-frequency response of these waves. The heart is the center of the power that generates your frequencies, and when it is combined with your imagination, it can produce a creative frequency that our outside world will always rise up to meet. When you create the shape of the world you desire in your imagination and add the emotional power of your heart to it, the world will pour itself into that shape. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he.